going on? What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody tonight? As always, I appreciate you guys joining me. Today we have a special treat. This is your host, Drin of Drin Talks. It's a special episode of Drin Talks that we're doing tonight. For those of you who have been following me, of course, you know that I speak about my father a lot in the talks because, as a man, Drin Talks, what we're about as a man, that the person who shapes you is your father. Those closest to your father is your uncles, your brothers. So I thought we would have a treat tonight and we would talk with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Aldrin Charles Sr. Also, we have my younger sister, Sharisa. She's here with us today. Dr. Sharisa Charles. She's here with us today, and this is in honor of my father, considering that his birthday is coming up on November 25th. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you all three people. Again, like I said, we have Dr. Sharisa Charles. She's here with us, and Mr. Aldrin Charles. You guys can come on into view as soon as I figure this out. Hold up. Bear with me. Boom. Gallery view. And now we have everybody. Everybody can unmute themselves and say what
Hi.
up. How are you guys today?
I'm fine.
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, I guess, a testament to technology because each one of us are in a different state. I'm in New Jersey, Sharice's back home in New York, and Pops is in Arizona. How's Arizona life for you?
Arizona is very nice. I like it so far.
Okay. And before Arizona, I think you were in Texas, and I know you definitely like that one. Sharisa, how's New York treating you right now? I say how's New York treating you like I don't live there, but whatever.
It's going.
It's going.
It's cold.
Yeah.
And COVID needs to go away.
Yes.
COVID at this point might be setting up shop looking for houses. Yeah. So pretty much what we are here today, because like I said, it's my father's birthday coming up. So we decided to kind of do a series on, pretty much how I came up with the idea is that I was watching something. I forgot what the heck I was watching, but it was pretty much a son asking their father questions that he never just wanted to ask his dad before. So I was like, oh, that would be a good idea to do. And I always had an idea of having an episode with you, Pops, in it. It's just I never really kind of figured out a time to actually do it. And then I figured, like, you know what? We weren't going to be able to come down because of COVID for your birthday. Why not do it there? Now, the first time I even thought about this, actually, you know what it was? A book. I was in Target around Father's Day, and I found this book where it was a whole bunch of questions that you asked your dad. And I was going to send it to you, but I don't know why I didn't do it at the time. I think I was with Charlie and I had to go, and I said I was going to go back and get it, but I never went and got the book. But I was going to send it to you, and then we would have, I guess, done this episode. So this is kind of like a shortened version of that. So I sent you a list of questions that we would kind of go over, and it's pretty much things that I thought of, things that I've also researched and gotten to find out, kind of just to pick your brain. And I know Sharisa, even though, for her, it was a little short notice, she also has a couple of questions too. And in typical Haitian fashion, we're talking. So, without further ado, I guess we can start. And Shrusi, you said your questions have more to do with fatherhood, right?
Yeah, they fall into some of it. You can do your questions first.
Okay.
And before you leave a category, if my question falls in there, I'll ask it.
Gotcha. So our first question is, what was your childhood dream and what kept you from fulfilling that dream?
My childhood dream. Growing up in Haiti, as you know, I'm from Haiti, was born in Cape Haitian. My dream was to be somebody. And
I think something happened with your sound.
We don't hear you, Papi.
Oh, there it goes.
You cannot hear me?
We hear you now.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. My dream was always to be somebody.
All right, now we can't hear you again. Pop.
To professional.
Hello? Pop, it keeps coming in and out.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe because of what about now? Do I have to bring it closer or what?
You might have to.
How about now?
Good.
Okay. It's always to be a professional. You know what I mean? It's a professional. There's only three things in Haiti when I was growing up. It's either you be a doctor, engineering, or a lawyer. The fourth one is to be what you might call it. Those people who plant trees, stuff like that. Agronome, I think.
A gardener?
But if you don't have a lot of land to plant, basically it's out of the question. So my dream was always to be, since I love to study and I could memorize things, because in Haiti you have to memorize a lot. So I always say that I want to be a doctor because I did not like numbers.
And then
so not that numbers didn't like me, I just don't like it. So I said I don't want to be an engineer. So
got it. That's funny that you wanted to be a doctor because you didn't like numbers.
Because I did not know that also in medicine there is
There's a lot of numbers.
It's an oxymoron. That's similar to me when I said I wanted to be a lawyer, but I don't like papers. And then come to find out it's all a bunch of reading and papers. So it's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So that actually kind of answers the next question, which is what you wanted to be when you were growing up. Is that you wanted to be a doctor?
That was when I was in Italy. When I become in the US now, when I moved here at 14, so now you see the world there's an endless possibility for you to other stuff that you want to do. So, but still, I went to college. I wanted to major in biology without knowing that what I was going to do. In other words, that there was not a lot of
direction.
So you didn't know what to do because, I'm fresh from Haiti. My mother doesn't speak English, so there's a lot of things that you really don't know. The counselor in the high school back then did not do their job. You just go to school because my mother said that I'm going to work. Your job is to go to school and be somebody. And do not get arrested. Do not stand home because you didn't do school. Because I don't want to leave work to go to your school. Because if I have to leave work, that means I won't get paid in the factory where she was working. So that's food food that she's not gonna be able to buy. So you just behave, and that's it.
Now, you said something interesting that I didn't even think about, and it might be a question out of the left, but how was that transition from moving to Haiti to the United States like on you? Like you said, you came in at 14, and all of a
Well,
sudden you're coming from Haiti to this country where there's endless possibilities, like you say.
And to add to that, did you want to come to America? Or
oh
were
yes.
you okay?
You have to realize I'm the last kid in the family. I was supposed to come when I was 12, actually. Okay? My father made me stay, me and my sister Anise, because we're the youngest, because we had to live with they were living with my older brother, which is Tonton Tony. And then my father didn't want all of us to live over there, so he made us stay. So imagine my buddy, Donald, which was the sibling that I always be with, left.
Yeah.
So now I'm by myself. I basically didn't know because I was following him all over the place. Now basically I left alone. All of a sudden I don't have anybody to hang out with. So of course those 2 years, all I was thinking is New York, because I was not paying attention in school. My mind was to leave Haiti. And beside, I have my other brother, Tida, and he was telling me, oh man, you're gonna die. Haiti's gonna disappear. I'm gonna get high. And you're a little kid, so you got scared. Nothing tastes good for me at this point. I just wanted to leave.
That's funny, Tonto T. That's the worst. I hear
Yeah.
teasing.
So
Okay.
then how was the transition then when you got here?
When I got here, it was 2 kids traveling by plane by themselves. For the first time, I was in a plane. Don't speak the language. My sister, Anise, who was already studying high school and was taking English, had to give me those English words that she knows, and for me to, because she was kind of shy to say them. I didn't care. I was going to ask questions. Just tell me and I go and ask, So when we were traveling from Port-au-Prince to New York, the ticket that they bought us was, it was not a direct flight. It was a flight, it was from Panama, that plane doesn't exist anymore. From Panama to Miami, and from Miami, we have to take Eastern Airlines, which no longer existed, to New York. So 2 kids would never take a plane before traveling by plane, So we're in a big airport. First time we see this thing, your eyes will, wow, you never see things like that. And you have to ask people for stuff, which direction to go and change the plane. But we did well. We did well. We made it on time. We took the plane. But the only problem that we had when we got to New York, Eastern Airlines took us to a small room and hold us there. And held us in the room and calling my parents to come and pick us up because we had 2 kids. And they did not know that situation. So they were waiting downstairs in the arrival for us.
And there's no cell phones at this time, so of course
there was no cell phone, nothing like that, But my father was living in the United States, had already told us that, there's a payphone and it's only take 10 cents back then. So before I left Haiti, I put a lot of 10 cents in my pocket just in case. I was prepared, So, and I took everybody's phone number that I have to, and just in case. So I need to call somebody, even though I was young, but I was sharp, So when we got to the airport, they put us in that little room. I was afraid to step out, but Anise was a little bit more adventurous. So She would keep telling me, go and see it. I said, no, you crazy? I'm not going to go up there. You know? So finally she got up and went outside and came back and tell me, oh, Drin, I saw a lot of TV out there. You know? I said, TV? Such show? Yes. You know? There's a lot of people. And then I wanted to go to the bathroom. And I didn't know how to say, I want to go to the bathroom. And finally, she was laughing at me. And then she needed to go to the bathroom. So then we decided, you know what? We're going to step out of the room and go to the bathroom. And that's what we did. We left the room and go to the bathroom. And the TV that she was talking about was the monitor that says arrival that has all the, we didn't know what it was. We thought it was TV. And then we step out of that room, went to the bathroom, and after that, I said, you know what? Let's call my uncle. You know, I have the number because my dad, who was in the United States, went back to Haiti, explained to me exactly how the phone works. You know, you just hang up, put the dime in, and you dial the number, and you wait for the person to say hello. So I did that, and my uncle was living on Eastern Parkway by Bedford Avenue, which is Tonton Idne, answered the phone. He said, they went for you guys long time ago. Where are you? I said, I'm at the airport and nobody come for us. So they put us in a little room. We just left the room and come and call you. He said, okay, this is what you do. Take a yellow cab. You see a yellow car and take them, go in there and tell them he gave us the address and just show them the address where you want to go. So we wrote the address. And there was a taxi, a yellow cab that came to drop someone in the departure. We just walk and go inside the taxi and start and say, and tell the driver, we showed the address. This is where we're, I don't know how we say it, but I know we showed the address. This is where we want to go. He said, okay, let's go. It
just took two kids in the car.
Wow.
14, 16. He took us and he's driving us around, telling us, explain stuff to us, showing things, and we go like, we understand.
Now, see,
the
funny, the terrible part about this is, one, yes, like he said, they jump into a cab, they take two kids. I can understand because maybe they're teenagers, so they kind of look a little grown, but whatever. But it's the fact that they were at the airports in a room supposedly under supervision, and all of a sudden they just get up and
just
go.
left.
And nobody.
They didn't even know that we disappeared. So now our biggest concern is, how are we going to tell the driver that we don't have money to pay for the ride? Because my uncle was the one who was going to pay for it. And he's inside the house. How are we going to tell him that, this is the situation? Lucky for us, he lived on the first floor. And as we got there, his wife was standing outside the window talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
Mind us that I never met my uncle in my life or his wife. The only way I know them is through pictures. Because they left Haiti a long time ago. They live, So we got there, me and Alice said, what we're gonna say? And lucky for us, we saw this lady looked like mine there. And we said, mine there? And she turned. He said, oh, there go the kids. And suddenly there comes and put the we were lucky. We were just lucky. And took us from Bedford. At that time, we live in Lincoln Place and Brooklyn by Eastern Parkway. We walk, and it was so strange. The smell was different. The people looked different, Back then, the kids used to have a big bang and put a lot of grease in their face, and to have the bang. And there were a lot of people, it was really totally different than now.
This was the 70s?
Yes.
That was rough. That was rough, New York.
It was beautiful though. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
There was not crime like the way it is right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, if you could go back one day of your childhood, what would it be?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. If I could go back, you know what? Believe it or not, I would like to go back to Haiti when I was 8, 9 years old, 10, going to elementary school. Haiti was so peaceful, especially Cape Haitian, was so peaceful. In the afternoon, there was some music playing in the radio. You will not hear no other noise except this guy called Piquion speaking on Radio Citadel, give le football, c'est un jeu d'association. This thing stay in my mind, I cannot describe it. It was really, to me, a time in my life where I enjoy being. You could do whatever you want to do. You don't have to worry about people stealing kids. You're on the street by yourself. I remember I was 9 years old. I'm walking on the street going to the hospital to see my sister who just had her firstborn. I go and eat jello at the hospital by myself, walking down the street. Everybody knows whose kid I was, so I was being protected by everybody. It was just like they said, it's a village. I was raising you. Everybody knows who you are. So I really enjoyed those days.
I couldn't imagine Charlie walking down the street to the hospital by
Now,
himself.
you can even 12 years old cannot walk by themselves.
It's wild.
Yes.
You have any more childhood things you want to ask, Teresa?
No.
Really? Okay, so
in my house,
I mean,
it was always a big, a lot of people,
Yeah. All right, so we can transition on to, I guess, this is where it kind of turns into, I guess, the Drin talks. I'm sorry, Teresa, but we're going into manhood now. So, what lessons have you learned about manhood throughout your years?
Throughout my years. Oh, wow. I learn about life itself. Life itself is a school. Every day you learn something new. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you're always learning. There's always something new. So, as a man, a Haitian man, I grew up being in a house where my father was the head of the household. So whatever he said goes, So that's how you learn to be a man. A man, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show emotion. I remember I learned not to kiss men because I was a young boy, elementary school, came from after school. My father was talking to a friend of his, and I was at that time go kiss and hug him. And of course, I go kiss the guy. And after they say, that, Aldrin, after that, you don't kiss me. You shake him. Okay, no more kiss from me. You come and shake my hand. No kissing, And my father was very strict, and that's how I learned, certain things men don't do, There's a way you're supposed a man supposed to do, a man dressed, a way you talk, and your word's supposed to mean something, So when you say something, you mean it, just don't say it and then you don't do what you're supposed to do. So that's how I learned to be a man.
Now, with those attributes, like you said, do you still hold those to be true today, as in like, because we live in a world where like I guess there's quote unquote gender fluidity, right? And then there's certain things that you would consider to what a man to be, whereas a younger generation considers like, hey, it's not that serious.
Okay, yes, there's certain things that I changed in my life. For example, like I will call you, talk to you, and I will tell you, I love you, son.
Mm-hmm.
Things that I never have the ability for my father to say, hey, I love you, you know.
Or like
I
how you said, man is not supposed to cry. Is that something you still hold dear to right now?
No, I do cry, but I don't cry like, something could be, a movie could touch me and I cry, you know. I don't see it as like you're not a man because you cry, you know what I mean? But I try to balance those two new generation and my old generation the way I was brought. Certain things that I see men do now that to me, there's no masculinity is getting out of the world. Now we don't
Mm-hmm.
know which one is which. If the female is a male, is a male is a female. So I think to me that's something that I can appreciate back in my old age. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
A man was a man, and yes, I till now, I still think there's certain job that still think that it's a man position to do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Do you have like examples?
For example, for me, I cannot be a nurse.
He always says that.
I just can't be a nurse. I give props to all the male that study nursing. They're good nurse and they're very good. But to me, I think that this is something that has, how could I say it? Like some female characteristic in it, you know? The way.
So is it because like being a nurse, you think of like being nurturing and caring
Yes.
and comforting and
Yes, you clean people's bodies, parts,
yeah.
you know. I remember when, for example, I remember when you were born and they left me in charge now for me to take care of you. As soon as I realized I have to take care, I teach you how to do certain things because it's not it's not my job to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's my fault. Yeah, I could watch you, I could teach you, but for me to, no, that's not a man.
Well, I get that answers a question I have later on. Okay,
Excuse me one second.
Go ahead. That's funny. This guy's a character. And you know, I guess it makes you kind of realize, well, it makes me realize a lot of things where I find that I do this kind of same thing. Because in essence, like, I kind of do the same thing with Charlie, where it's like, all right, listen, this is how you're supposed to do it and figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah, like, it's not that I don't, I don't want to care or nothing, but it's just like, all right, we're not gonna baby you. You're gonna learn how to do this and move on. You know?
Yeah, I was talking to Bobby, and I guess I'll ask him when he comes back. And he was saying how he always wonders at what point I guess you could answer it too.
Those all of a sudden start running, so I don't know why. I need a tissue.
Oh.
No problem. Go ahead, Ax.
Well, this kind of jumps into the fatherhood section. So if you want to stay on the manhood topic for a little bit, you could finish that.
Okay, fine. All right, so here's a good one. What is your life's code or mantra, and has it changed over the years?
I don't think I had a life code or mantra when I was growing up. You know, I was living day by day. You know what I mean? Until So I grew up in a Christian family, you know. And since I was year high, so I'm mid-size Seventh-day Adventist, you know, that's all I know. I know no other religion except, you know, you went and find out when you become a teenager, back curiosity to find out what's going on. Then I realized as a Christian, they always, whenever you have a problem, your mother will tell you, you know, you pray to God, you know, that's how you solve anything, you know. Just like they say that, like in Philippians 4, I think it's verse 13 or something like that, you know, the verse that say that, you know, you can do all things to God who strengthens you, you know what I mean? So that become my mantra, you know. So I realize that in life, you gotta set yourself, you gotta set a goal and you try to attain, you know, because to a lot of book reading also on the internet, I find out that, you know, do not set yourself like, you know, or I'm a set to reach this, but I have plan B in case I don't make it, you know. So you are setting yourself for failure because you always think, oh, I don't, I can do B. But if you set yourself for plan A, you say you will achieve it no matter what, you will achieve it. And that's when I realized that, you know, after a while, I tried to stay away from medical school and I said, you know what? I can do it because I'm gonna go to medical school no matter what. If I can make it, I can make it. But if I don't want to live my life saying that if, you know, I want to try my best, give my best. If I don't do it, it's okay. And failure is all right because this is how I learn in life, you know. And this is why a lot of people fail because they're afraid of making mistakes, you know. In life, you have to make mistakes, you know. Nobody's perfect. The only man upstairs is God who is perfect. Nobody else on earth is perfect. So it's okay. So my mantra is, you know, when you set, you know, you go for what you set. And that's what I said, you know. You do whatever you decide and you go for it. Do not say, oh, you know, another thing, do not look at the time. Because when I was young also, I was, oh man, you got to study this for 6 years. And when I entered high school, 4 years in high school, before I know it, 4 years passed by. 4 years in college, before you know it, time. So just step your foot. If you decide to do, just go and do it, and that's it.
Yeah.
The rest will take care of it.
Like I literally realized maybe not too long ago, I'm 15 years out of high school. This is wild to me sometimes.
Old, bro.
Says the 30-year-old.
Listen, when I was a kid, my mother always say, when we are talking, Mama, how was it when you were? He said, man, it was just like yesterday. I could not understand how come my mother said, you know, like yesterday. Now I'm in that position. I ask, man, that day I was a kid. When did I become a parent, a grandparent? When you guys were born, I was saying, man, God, I can't wait for you guys to be able to stay home by yourself. I flew by. So you know what? Don't look at time. Just do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I feel like I guess it's a maturity thing because I guess when I was younger, I said the same thing where it's like time, like it's gonna take this amount of time. I don't want to do it, But then now, as I'm like 33, it's like, well, you know, if I had just done it, I would have been done by now. You know, I would have been set by now, like, and kind of just wasted. But you learn that, I guess, as you get older, where time is fleeting when you're going, it might be closer to the end.
Yeah, but the good thing about where we live is there's no time limit of what you can do, you know. because what I learned also, everyone in this life is in a race by themselves. Because sometimes we're looking at other people to score, to say, oh man, I didn't make it. Look at where my friend is, what he or she is doing. I should have been there. No, this person is on its own race. You know, you gotta stay in your lane. Do your thing, because it's never too late. Because you have to, what I said, you have to set a goal and you have to achieve it. Doesn't matter when you achieve it, because sometime in life, because I was listening to President Obama, who said that he didn't have, was when he was young. It's later in life he decided to set his life straight and did what he does. And look at what he reached. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have friends that took up, boom, and they reached it. And you get go there slower, and you probably have a better basket than them, you know. Your basket might be fuller than them because it takes time, you learn a lot, and at the time that you will make it, you have more common sense because you are older, you know.
I guess the last question in the manhood topic would be, what is your definition of manhood? But you kind of explained that.
Yeah. You know, I talk a lot.
Okay, so next topic would be life, right? And I wanted to bring up, what have you learned about life, love, and relationships?
I think I touched about it already. I think life is a big school, you know. You're never too old or too young to learn. Because when I was young, I always say, oh man, I don't want to stay in school. I want to finish school so I could go to work. Now at work, I realize that, man, it's even harder. Maybe I should go back to school. Because you're always learning every day.
Yeah.
So I realized that in life, you know, it's school, and you have to love and be loved. You know, that's the main thing. You know, even in the Bible, it says, God said it, you know, you got to love one another just the same way you love yourself. That's what it's all about.
And what about your, so because it's a three-part question in essence, right? So with relationships, how do you value your relationships now that differ or is the same from when you were younger? Or
When I was
devalue?
younger, when I was younger, you took relationship for granted because it was a cool thing, you know. There's a lot of things you take for granted. Like the Haitian has a proverb that says, is les pas bons par là, c'est les ça ouais pas, j'en pas bon t'es bon. Which means that it's when the person you'll be calling is, this is no good for nothing, is when he's no longer around, you realize how good that person was. You know? And it's also true in every relationship. It's when you are in a relationship, sometimes you take it for granted. It's when you lose that relationship, you realize, oh man, what how good it was. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you learn from them. But life is also like that. You know, you always, because sometimes when you have things, you don't really know you have a good thing until you lose it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. That's with relationships in essence, I kind of start feeling now how, especially like those when I had that when I was younger, not that I've lost them, but just the fact that now I kind of look at them like, wow, especially with you guys, you know, you guys had a group of friends that you guys are still friends with that are pretty much our aunts and uncles right now. And then we've grown up with their children, and I looked at all of them as if they were my cousins. And, you know, when you see other people who didn't have that, and you're like, wait, you've only been friends with this person for, you know, 10 years or 5 years, whatever. And then meanwhile, I can say I've been friends with somebody for damn near 30. I have, Leland is my friend for 33 years. You know, Whitnell is my friend for 32 years because we've known each other since children. So it's like those relationships I'm starting to learn, like, I truly value though, even though like we might not
Talk
talk
every
every
day.
day. We might not, you know, converse every day. We might not interact every day. But when we are together, it's like nothing's ever left. And it goes same true for the relationships that I've just acquired. You know, I have friends that I just acquired from my job working at the gym that I value those relationships as dearly as those relationships as I had for 32 years because it's just a different perspective. And you know, it's something that I find, and I guess I'm also just a people person also. So, you know, just having a group of people around me it's you know, I value them.
To me, relationship is whatever you put into a relationship, that's what it is. You know? For me, for example, when I got here, like I told you, my mother did not speak English, or the little English that she spoke was not enough. And she was working to support us, you know. My thing is, my father, when I came to the United States, my father was in Haiti. He went back. So the father figure in the house where I was living with my older brother, Walden, you know, he's the one who was the man inside the family for me, you
For
know.
those of you who don't know, Wildex's the one in the picture in the background.
Yes. Yes. You know, he was just like a father, make sure that everything is done. And he's the one that has to go to school with us because he's the one who speaks English, you know, and make sure if I go home, for example, he used to teach you that if I go home and they quiet and he said there was supposed to be a report card. He said, Aldrin, where's your report card? Young, the way I see Aldrin's walking, you know, it seemed like he didn't pass his class, you know? Because you remember, when there is parents, teachers meeting, my mother doesn't go to those things because she doesn't speak English,
Yeah.
you know? And so you on your own. So the only good thing that was going for me is having him in the house who was also studying to be somebody. And your mother was telling you, make sure you do good because I'm working for you. Your job is to go to school and become somebody. So I make sure I surround myself with people that was thinking positive. And you see this friend that you are talking about, this is why people don't understand how come I've been here since I was 14 and I have this strong accent. Reason why I was never Americanized myself. I stay focused on being Haitian. I speak Creole at home. I make sure I find friends that will speak Creole with me. Like all of us came from Haiti almost at the same time, and we became, because we were friends since in Haiti. So we stayed together. In the school, they was calling us Frenchy, and I was very proud of being French because I say I speak French. Yes, I'm a French. You know, the way I dress was not the way the American dress, totally different, and I was very proud of the way I dressed. And I see people always say, "Oh, I don't feel what you call it. Young kids nowadays are like, you know, they have problem because they don't feel fit in." No, I was different, and I enjoy being different because yes, that's who I was. I was different than then. Like I told you, back then, the girl used to put a bang with grease, but I realized all this thing they were doing is because they used to have a lot of fight. And the grease will make your hands slippery if you try to grab them. That was a technique for it. So I was not into those things. I was never a fighter. I don't look for fight. I surround myself with people that were studying, that went to school, no class, no coding class, if people go, I try to stay out of trouble because like I said, my mother give me this. You go to school to learn, make sure you go and learn because I don't want the principal to call me. So therefore I have to leave my job to go to school for you. Your job is go to school, I'm feeding you, that's it. And I try to, to do it the way she said it. And that's why we have all these people, you see, when you talk about all my friends, you see all of us, we all become professional. It was a struggle, but we did it.
Yeah. Who has been your greatest inspiration or mentor? And how have they inspired or mentored you?
And I want to tell people that my mentor was always inside my house. We are a close family. We are together. We joke a lot. We have fun together. We love each other. So, like I said, ever since I was a little kid, I'm a very lazy guy. I could do a lot of things, but my sister Anis will tell you better, because we had class together. But my mentor in school was always my brother Walter. He's always into his book, doing things. So, but also I love my brother Tigger because when I was in Haiti, when my parents left, he was the one inside the house keeping an eye on us as a big brother, Max's father. So he played with us, the way he goes after, even women, stuff like that. And I'm a very observant guy. I'm always observing people that do positive things. So those people were my role model growing up.
And lastly, I guess this will be a little deeper in the life topic, would be, why do you believe in God?
Like I said, I had no choice.
Okay.
I grew up in a Christian house, I found my father and my mother praying every day, especially when you were in Haiti. Every morning before you step out, there will be quilt. You go and you sing, and I'll be having the Bible. People used to think I was going to be a pastor, because I used to do the Sabbath school lesson every morning. You pray in the morning, you pray at 12, and you pray in the evening. When I travel to the United States, since people go to work, so things change a little bit, So they only do it at night because since we gotta go up early to go to work and you're not home at midday, so they only do it at night. So that's where I start losing the routine, if you say. But personally, like I said, it was given to me. I had no choice. Okay? But as you grow up, you're studying, you're reading books, you realize that, okay, there is something stronger out there. There's a positive, there's a negative. Whether you call it God or whether you call it the good God or the bad Satan, it's up to you. But there is two forces out there. One is good and one is negative. Okay? But one thing I realized, the positive force you call God, when you believe in it, it helps you get places. For example, I realized when people used to pray in school, for example, there was less shooting. There was less thing, people do less bad things. As soon as people stop not believing God, now they have no sense of direction. So now people think I'm God, I could kill you. They don't care. Because remember that when you grow up, you believe in God. If you do something bad, even my father cannot see, but the man upstairs will see me. Even I see it in the dark, only me knows about it. But you know there's a God upstairs that know that you did something bad. And because of that, you try to do good things all the time because you know you cannot hide from this guy. But once you don't believe in those things anymore, it's a game that you could do whatever you want to do because nobody will know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I don't see now. If you ask me, do I believe in God the way my parents do? Maybe it's a little bit different. There's a lot of philosophical thing that will go into it that you might even say that, oh, I don't understand. Maybe he doesn't believe anymore. So I try not to discuss this with people because
Yeah, religion always is a touchy
yes,
subject.
same thing with politics.
Yeah, religion. They tell you that in workplaces, don't talk about religion and politics. Those are the two things you can't touch.
All they talk about.
But that's all people ever talk about.
Yes.
I think with me, as again, it kind of, I guess, piggybacks off of you. With me and Sharice, we grew up 7-day Adventists. We were forced into it. There was no choice. You woke up on Saturday, you went to church. Granted, you guys weren't as strict as your parents were, but there was still, when we were younger, there was no TV on Friday, Saturday. Couldn't stand that. But as we got older, I found myself questioning a lot of what I learned. And of course, once I got a car and was able to drive wherever I wanted to, that's when my real, I guess, journey with God started happening for me. And to a point where at one point, I really did not believe in God anymore. Well, not in essence, not believe in God, but not believed in God the way I was taught. I just was kind of over it. It was a lot of things at that point in time that was kind of fighting with it. But I think what made me come back to a strong, I guess, faith-based belief with him was, I guess, the birth of Charlie, in essence, right? Because now I'm in this situation where I'm a father now, and I'm finding it was a very difficult time because, through other, situations, it was just making it very difficult on me being a father, being a person in a relationship and all that stuff. I just felt like the weight of the world bearing down on me. And I had it's funny because you hear all the stories growing up, like Job, of though he slayed me, yet will I trust him and all that stuff. But now you come into a situation where you feel like you have nothing else but your back is against the wall. So I just reverted back to what I grew up with, and that kind of brought me back out. And I was just like, well, you know what? This is kind of interesting. And then also, like I said, I was kind of searching for other things outside of what I learned. And when I was finding out was in searching in these other things and searching in these other religious aspects and searching in these other spiritual things, what I found was most of it is pretty similar. There's, slight changes of, like you said, like whatever you want to call it, good, evil, positive, negative, God, Satan, whatever. Most of the stories, most of the sects are the basic premise was pretty similar. And then when you go into the text of it, they were all pretty similar to me. So, which now further made me go, well, maybe there is something in what I learned. And then I realized for myself, I was always going by what people told me about God. I never actually had a personal connection within myself. So I said, you know what, let me try to explore this. And then from there, I'm still learning. Like you said, life is about learning, and you learn everything every day. With spirituality, I still, I'm trying to figure out where I am with it. But I believed that there was something higher than myself, but it was just how about going that was where the issue was coming for me.
See, like you said something about that, once you have Charlie, make you focus on it. Yes, kids will do that to you, because I remember when I have you know, it make me focus differently, because you have a little one, excuse me, that is looking after you, because one thing that people don't realize that the best way to teach a child is not by telling what to do, is
By
by
example.
example. You gotta do the things, because once you have someone, because a lot of people don't understand, you have a child, you're cursing around, you're doing this, and you expect the child not to curse. I tell you a good example. When I was young, I used to curse a lot. My mouth was really dirty. And one day I was taking you to quick. I spent a lot of money on you.
They'll never let you forget.
Yo, never.
I gotta go to best school, Montessori. And I was taking you to school in Brooklyn. I remember you sit in the back, and this guy cut me off. And I called him a name. And without thinking, I forgot that you were in the back. And then you turn around and say, Papi, how do you know his name? I say, oh, shucks, I gotta clean, I gotta clean my mouth, because I forgot that you were there ever since. And then I try to, because especially in the Haitian community, people don't sit you down, your parents don't sit you down, tell you things. They will tell you things or the way you see the way they do it. If you see it, you learn, because there's no, when you have kids, no book comes with the kids.
There's no manual.
No manual. You have to learn and find yourself. Good things. When I was in college, I took a lot of early education, about school, but that helps me. But if it was for your parents, you just watch. If you have a good parent, you watch the way they do things, and you try to mimic it. You know what I'm saying? My father was a very loving guy. My mother also. So I happened to grow up in a household where there was love. Even though they never said a word. You know what I'm saying? But they were very loving people. My father was the one that will hug you, kiss you, stuff like that, Like especially me, I was the baby, and so he did what you call it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Spoiled.
Spoiled me a lot, So yes, I can say it.
So this transitions us into the fatherhood topic, and I guess you started saying it, but what does being a father mean to you?
It's everything. That's what a man was born to do. You know what I'm saying? The same way the woman will have the kids, the man's job is to raise the kid. Excuse me. Is to raise the kid. You know what I'm saying? You work hard, because once the woman pushes the kid, your job is to mold that kid into something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe when I was younger, I did not understand that part. It was more like a show. You know what I'm saying? You have a kid, you trust your kid, yeah, because that's why I wanted a son, I wanted somebody that would continue me, especially when I was younger, as you could see, every kid that was born in the family, they will say that he looks like Aldrin. So I always wanted to see my son. That was a dream to see my son. Is he gonna look exactly like me? And I say, I bet you he's not gonna look exactly like me, you know? But I wanted a son. I don't care what it is. I wanted a son because ever since I was a little boy, I always wanted 4 kids.
Yeah.
A son, a girl, a son, a girl. It was always like the way that it was the order, you know? But unfortunately, I had only 2 at that time, you know? Then later on, I got married. I have 2 more, and it ended up 4, and that's it.
When was the moment that you first, I guess, felt like a father? Because I know, I mean, I imagine I'm not a mother, but they say that
Like, you know?
women that women feel like they are a mother from since conception. Is there like a particular time where either of you, since you guys are both fathers, when was the moment that you felt like you were actually a father?
When when the baby was in the stomach, you know, a live thing, you touching the stomach, baby's kicking, you know, you feel, wow, did I do that? You know, because you wonder, you know, this is something you can explain. You have to live it, you know. You have to
Is
live
that
it.
the same for you, Andy?
Not really. Like, I knew when was pregnant that yes, I was a father. I was a father to be, but it was more surreal. Like, you would feel the belly and be like, yeah, I can't wait till he gets out, blah blah blah. But like, when it actually hit me that I was a father was the day of his birth. Like, I remember her calling me like, hey, I think it's time. They tell me to go to the hospital. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And I was like, if you can ask her, I was really like even keel the whole time, to a point where I think she was even upset with me for a little while. And even the doctor had said it like, your husband he didn't even budge. Like, she's going through the C-section and he's pulling out, and he was cool the whole time. And I don't know what it was. As I look back on it, like, I remember going to get Mummy after he was born to come back to the room to see him, and that, like, I'm walking, and I remember literally at that point everything kind of just hit me, and my knees got weak, and I hit the wall, and I was about to just like break down, like, holy crap, that, like, I'm somebody's dad, like, this kid has to rely on me now, and everything hit me all at once, and it scared the hell out of me.
I guess every situation is different, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But in my situation, I was looking for it, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, it's
So
not that I wasn't
therefore,
looking forward to it. It's just, I didn't realize the gravity of it. That's what it was.
because this is someone that's gonna depend on you. My
Yeah.
worry was, would I be able to feed you know what I'm saying? But it was the same situation when I got married. Because this is the first time I'm going to pay bills. Having a rent a place, because I was living at my mother's house, where I chip in. But you never have to worry about the rent due. You know what I'm saying? I never lived alone until I got married. My first apartment was when I got married. So those things, that was a pressure right there. Say, my worry was, would I be able to do it? Would I be a good father? Now I'm trying to think, okay, anything that I did not like when I was growing up, maybe think that I have to change. You know what I'm saying? To be a better parent,
Yeah.
They used to tout a lot for me. Then I remember I tout for ND once, and my hand burned me so much that I said, man, maybe I hurt the boy. So how you feel? He said, I'm fine. I said, oh, then I'm punishing myself more than I punish. I was still hurting, and he was fine. Then I decided, you know what? I'm going to cut it off. Just put it out, try to talk more, instead of, because certain things that they used to do to me, you try not to do them because you realize maybe there's other thing that could replace them. So this is the thing. It was really a big job. You're going to have people that depend on you. And this is what fatherhood is all about. You have to provide for your family,
Now, I mean, you answered this question, so I won't even ask it, but I still, just for the viewers out there to know, how were you so certain I was going to be a boy? And how were you so certain Sharisa was going to be a girl?
It was just faith. I had no magic. There was no calculation behind it, except I was so focused and so believed that you were going to be a boy. Nobody was going to change my mind because I remember, what's his name? The Felicia y'all's mother?
Oh, okay.
Fidelia was saying, oh, your wife stomach is so and so, to be a boy, it's supposed to be pointy or thing. I don't know which one was round. I said, ma'am, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? This is a boy right there. I put it and I know it's a boy. It's gonna be a boy. But when I'm saying that inside me, I'm saying, God, please. Because I have no methodology to do it. It just happened that I want a boy. Like I told you, ever since I was a little boy, I always want my firstborn to be a boy. And that was it. So I remember when I took your mother to the hospital, a water broke inside the Mustang. So I was driving like crazy because I didn't want you to be born inside a car because they're going to put you into isolation because you were born outside the hospital. So I was driving like a maniac to get to St. John Hospital on Queens Boulevard. So finally I got there. I was waiting in the waiting room because since it's a Catholic hospital, they didn't want me to.
They didn't allow men inside.
So I was waiting there all afternoon, all day long. I'm praying. I said, please God, let it be a boy, please God. And when the doctor come out, and tell me it is a boy, I say, yes! Now I could go, like the Haitians say, faire jolly à net. This is a boy. Because at that time, all my friends were having kids too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of pressure, I go say, I'm a boy, I'm a father of a boy, Because, see, I know some men say they want girl for the first kid. I want girl, but I wanted a boy, make sure that my name is secure to continue the name, the child. And I wanted to give the name my father gave me because it was really special to him when he called me Aldrin. I wanted a boy to call Aldrin also to continue because I already know the name was going to be Aldrin. There was no if and but about it. It was going to be Aldrin. Okay? So that was it.
What was the meaning behind Aldrin? What was the meaning behind Aldrin?
I find out, I don't know my father knew about the meaning. As I grew up, I found out that it meant a rich black earth.
An old wise ruler.
So because the name comes from Adrianus, which is Greek, which is Adrian, and that's where Aldrin comes from. But I did not know the meaning until a friend of mine gave me the meaning, actually. It wasn't me. It was Mrs. Butchers who gave me the meaning. I didn't even know the meaning. So.
And look at that. Now you got Aldrins for 3 generations.
Yes. Now the third. Yep.
I just always liked my name. I was always the only one. There was always, 3 mics. You know, thousands of Johns. You know,
One Aldrin.
Jeffries. There's always one Aldrin in the whole school. Like it's not period.
Yeah. Now I see a lot of Aldrin out there.
Yeah, I see a lot of them are usually Filipino.
Yes, Filipino. Yes, a lot of Filipino names Aldrin. When I was in Mexico studying, I saw a guy played a Latino. He had Aldrin as his in his motorcycle name. I guess that was his name. But it's very rare to find people with a first name Aldrin.
Yeah, it's usually a last name.
Yeah.
Uh,
Interesting.
what do you enjoy most about being a father, and what don't you enjoy about being a father?
Why don't I enjoy about being a father? I enjoy being a father. I love being a father. I wish I had more money to enjoy my kids because I always feel like the more money, the more things you can do, you know? And this is why if you had asked me, you know, this is one thing I would love to do if I was more focused when I was younger about school. If I knew what I know now, maybe I would have the money that I really want to enjoy certain things. But I enjoy every moment about having kids. You know, to me, this is the greatest thing that you could do. You have some creature that you have that's depending on you for the survival. You know, whatever you do, whatever you say, their life depends on you. So I enjoy every minute of it. I do not regret any kids that I had to say, oh, I wish I didn't have them. No. I enjoy every kid. When you were born, Andy, it was a blessing. When Sharissa was born, it was a blessing looking at her, you know, coming out with a Brookdale Hospital, you know, and I always remember the lady, the nurse who was kind of say, good luck with her. And now to look at you, you know, I think we did good, you know. Your mother, you know, we did good. So the good thing is about it, and I don't think it's about money, and I think it's how much you enjoy the kids. Like when you were born, I enjoy playing outside with you. I always riding bike, you go, you know, long ride, you know. Things like that to me was more important, you know. Your mother, on the other hand, believe in buying gifts, this and that. I'm not a buyer. You know, I'm into involving things, do things, you know, together, you know. And we always outside, you know, playing soccer. You know, I remember I put India into soccer, you know. So those things was, to me, memory to keep for a lifetime. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Even with those two little ones right now, you know, sometimes they do get on your nerve. Don't give me one. You do get on people, the kids get on your nerves. But that's your job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the only thing you have to think of, especially they get on your nerves more when you have problems. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I say that if you have more money, you know, to take care of certain things, you don't have, because me personally, it's always money problem that how much I could do things what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Maybe other people have other problem. I never have any psychological problem, but it was always that I want to give more. You know what I'm saying? You know, let's go on vacation, you know, you worry about those things. But they're great, you know, and they're supposed to get in your nerves. That's their job. And I remember I was watching this guy say, a kid's supposed to jump into a pothole. He doesn't care if the clothes is clean. That's a kid. That's his job.
Yo,
You know?
I can't stand it. Oh my God. I was like, ah, yeah, they don't care because you the one has to clean it and
But
change
you know
them.
what? Sometimes, you know what? You bought the clothes, especially with kids, in 2 months.
They're not gonna fit it anyway.
So let them wear it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with it? They're not gonna be able to wear it. You bought it for them. So
Yeah.
because I grew up because I never had a lot. So I try to keep what I have for a long time. So you're trying to pass the same thing with the kid to keep what he has, but he's a kid. He's gonna grow out of the clothes. It's not like me that stopped going. You
But
know
you
what I'm
know, the
saying?
funny part is, like, you just said something interesting. Like you said, you didn't have a lot, so you try to keep what you have for a long time, and you try
Yes.
to pass it on to your kid. But he's a kid; he doesn't know. But in essence, that does stick, because I see that what I do too. There's stuff that I have, and it probably drives people in my life crazy. Where I'm like, no, like, I'll keep it a certain way because I just don't want to buy another one. It's not that I care about it that much. That, yes, things are things, you can buy, always replace it, whatever, but it's like, it's mine. Why would I want to replace it if I can just take care of it and move, keep it on? So I think that does actually pass down. It might not have seemed that way when I was a kid,
Yes.
but yeah.
Yeah, it passed down because this is where I was saying about example. Kids look at you, what you do, and they
Yeah.
will mimic you. You know what I'm saying? The same thing, I realize that, for example, when we have Fredo, we say, okay, no more juice because with juvenile diabetes or something like that, we want to stop that. But I decided to say, you know what? If I want him to drink water, I have to drink water too.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped drinking juice. I drink water. He drank a lot of water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what he says. You know what I'm saying? But if you all keep drinking juice, just like my parents say, you do as I
Let's
said,
say
not as
not as
I
I
do.
do.
Kids don't say it like that,
Yeah.
because you could say it as much as you want. They see what you're doing, that's what they're going to repeat.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there are different challenges that comes to like raising a girl versus a boy, or anything that you've noticed over the years?
I don't know if it's challenges. Like I said, I'm old school. Okay? And I grew up like girls supposed to be certain way and boys supposed to be certain way. But then through my own education, I realized if you want girls to be more like, like this, then you got to teach your boy to be like this too. So I realized it's a 50-50. There's no one way for boys and one way for girls. If you let the boys go out party, you should let the girl go out party. You cannot be telling the girls to stay home and the boy is going having all the fun in the world. If you don't, you have to decide. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be saying that, one can do something, the other one cannot do. Because this is sexism. You know what I'm saying? If my boy can go out, my girl should be able to go out. The main thing is to talk to them and give them advice, because this is where we are different. Because the boy is a spreader. Okay? The girl is a receiver. Okay? This is the only place we are different, because we both go out having fun, but someone have the fun tonight and the other one had that to remind of that fun maybe 9 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that boy continue having fun. This is where the difference stops. We're no longer the same, because the boy cannot carry a child. So I said, both of you should know what to do. And this is where I think a lot of my Haitian parents fail us, because they never think about sex. Sex education is never taught. I grew up in a family, or as I told you, that there was a lot of loves, but I never see my mother and my father kissing. So that's why when you go, you see somebody kiss, you're like, this is not something that people do, but this is normal behavior. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I think I changed a lot. There's things that they used to do, I don't do. Because you have to talk about it. And they told you in psychology also, once a child come and ask you a question, they already know the answer. They just want to check you out to see if you're going to lie to them. No matter what age they ask you, if they ask you a question, give them the right answer. Maybe you might find a way so he or she could digest it according to their age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But don't lie. Because once you lie to them, they're not coming back to you. They're going to go to their friend because their friend is the one telling them the truth. So I realized that, I learned that, and I put that in mind because I was young also. Because I never forget my youth. Because I know things that I used to do. Now I become a parent. I don't want my kids to do it. Don't want my daughter to come and say, I'm going out, and they say no, and then she's going to go out to the window. You know what I'm saying? Because
Andy.
I hate lying. I hate lying. You know, because I remember when I was a child, how old was I? 10? Maybe 10. I took 3 pennies of my father. He had left on his bed. And I took them and I bought, that was in Haiti. And I ate them. And he asked me, like I said, my father spoiled me a lot. He would have given it to me. But since I took it without asking, I decided I'm going to lie. You know, you kids, you know, you think if you lie, everything is caused. But you know, in Haiti, like I said, it's a big village. People already saw me eating bananas with nuts in the street. They call it pistache grillé, and banana I was eating in the street. And they told them already. When they saw you, they couldn't tell, you know? So he come and asked me. I said, no, I wasn't. I wasn't the one who took it. And that was a Saturday. This is the first time I remember they beat me on a Saturday. And I said, no. He said, you know, Aldrin, so where did you find the money you bought nuts and banana? I didn't know that you knew about that. You know? But for that, he said, you know what? I'm going to beat you not because you took the 15 cents, which was 3 pennies is called 15 cents back in Haiti. He says, because you lied to me. I asked you, I'm your father. If you tell me yes, that I took it, it's okay. But why did you have to lie? And that was the lesson I learned from that meeting. Never lie again, you know. You took it, you say, earn it, own it. And this is why I remember, you know, people always say that I'm arrogant because when they say this, yes, I did it. Why lying? You know? Why lying? You did it, you did it. I remember I was talking to your uncle Philip, and he said, oh, Drin, even if you get caught, don't make supposed to lie. What you see, that's not what it is. I said, I'm sorry, sir, I can't do this. This is an assault to the person you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And people say that, you know, I'm sorry, because I always said when I go and do something, I usually calculate the good and the bad. My mind always working 24/7. That's a blessing, I don't know, but it's always working. I always see the extremes, you know? So if I do something, remember I saw it. Maybe that's what I wanted to do. This is what I heard people say. People they do things because of friend. No, friend don't make me do things. I do things because I want to do it, and I choose the people that wants to do it with me. You see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Because I won't go and do things because you are. If you want and I don't want to go, you could go. I'm not going. I'm sorry. I don't care if you call me. Just like at work, they want to give food. People are always eating at night. I don't eat. They say, oh, I'm finicky. I'm sorry. I don't eat. I eat, and that's it. I don't eat because I want to eat. People will bring to you, oh, do you want this? You want this? No, that's your food. Eat it. I got my food. Oh, that's it. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Okay, so now, what was the hardest moment you've had as a father?
Hardest moment. It was with you. I remember after birth, you got sick. You have to go end up in the hospital. So like I was telling you, I always take up the extreme. What about if I lose my child? You know, just have my son. You know, that was the biggest thing in my life, you know. Then you end up, you have to stay because you are
Dehydrated?
yes. So they had to go give you oh,
IV.
IV, stuff like that. So you have to end up in the hospital. I think you see 1 night or 2 days. I
I
don't
felt
remember.
like I had the same story with Charlie.
You know, so and you are
Different
very
kids,
finicky.
man.
You didn't eat, so we have to buy you liquid food, ensure stuff like that because you didn't want to eat and you had a lot of energy. Yeah. So it's not little. So 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 that was my biggest scare, if you may say. You know. So lucky for us, you went through it. Then and we had the best pediatrician. He was the one in charge of pediatrics at St. John Hospital, the doctor that we had. So he knew what he was doing, an old man. So
You
that
got,
was yes, yes.
you got one, Sharice, or no?
Question?
Yeah.
Um, okay, I guess mine's like a two-part. What do you think is your greatest accomplishment as a father? And then do you think that there was a time when you failed as a father or felt like you were failing as a father?
As a father, your job is to see your kids able to take care of themselves. You know, of course, we want them to have all the diploma in the world, but the main thing is for that child to be able to be independent. So for those two of you, I think you guys made it. You are independent. You're not dependent of nobody. You're taking care of business, you know. So that's a big accomplishment, you know, because to have the kids, and I remember my mother always worry, and my father also, that they don't want you to do sport because they don't want you to break your neck and you become quadriplegic, and now you have to depend on somebody. This is the biggest worry I have. If I have a kid, that it's just like you have a dog. A dog is just like a baby until it dies because that dog depends on you. So as a human, you want that person to be a certain that I see parents that wants to be involved in their kid life even as an adult. No, they're an adult now. I want them to walk away. Have some problem, troubles, and come to daddy and I give you some advice, and that's it. But now you no longer under my roof. You do whatever you want to do. And I look at you in this, in the army, doing this, doing that, you flying all over the place. I just say, be safe. That's all. I'm happy. I'm happy. I don't want people to be depend on me. No. Then you have a robot. You know, I have a robot. You know, it could depend on you to do whatever you want to do. A failure, so far so good. So far so good. Nobody doing things that I dislike. So
Good.
What are things you wish you would have done differently as a father? Or
different.
even just even I guess you can kind of do it this way. Like, what are things that you even doing differently now with Ashanti and Fredo that you didn't do with me and Teresa?
Let me think. I guess get more involved. Get more involved into the school, into the piano. And I think one thing I regret, especially for Andy, at that time, that when you were in piano, that's when I went to medical school. So I was not there, you know. Most of your teenage years, I was not there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So being there during the summer is not enough. I wish I could be there. I went there most of the time. You know what I'm saying? So because especially for a man, he needs that father figure in his life as a teenager. You know? Yes, talking over the phone is not the same as you did. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference, you know? Because I remember, you know, Andy will call me because we always have that relationship. We could talk about anything in any time. You know, he told me, oh, my mother is doing this. She's always want to hit me, you know, because when your testosterone is showing, boys know he's a man. You don't have to tell them. You know, that hormone is showing that I'll be a man, you know, and he sees a woman as a woman, you know, like he has more power than me. He will tell me, oh, I will answer checking me out. You know, I remember that was the first time I cursed at Andy. Yes, you remember that? Did?
Yeah.
First time,
I told the
I
story to the channel.
yes, the first time I said curse word, I said, you know what? I grew up in a family where I saw my father never raise his hand on my mother. No matter what, my mother was like this, my father was like that. My mother, and my father said that a woman's mouth is her weapon. He could say whatever you want to say with her mouth. You know, if you cannot take it, you just walk out. Let it cool down, you could come back on. This is a man that was not have a lot of education, but he was a wise guy, you know. He has all his friends, which was lawyer, doctor, will come to him for advice. You know, some people just was born like this. That was his, you know. So, and this is what I pass on to ND, and I was always telling ND, it doesn't matter if your sister do this, do not hit your sister. So that's what I tell him. See, I'm telling you not hitting your sister, now you're telling you're gonna hit your mother. My man, you better run if you do something like that because I'm gonna kill you. I did it, I say it in some other language, I didn't want to repeat it. You know?
And I tell that story I tell that story to
So,
everybody.
yes, and I meant it.
I know you did.
Because he
I
came,
know.
become 18, and he told me the same story again. And I said, my friend, the same thing stand. If you don't like it, now you're 18, you don't have to stay under her roof. Get out. Because we all, according to the US, after 18, you're an adult, you could move out, you don't have to stay with us. You take your mother, she's providing you, she's giving you a roof to stay, she has the right to tell you things. Because as a kid, what you have to do, yes, mommy, you know you're not gonna do it, but you obey and you go, mommy. But you cannot say you're gonna hit, no.
I tell that story constantly when people ask me about, you know, relationships and fatherhood and all that stuff. I'm like, listen, at a certain point, especially for boys, like you said, at a certain point, they need dad around, you know, and that was something that I missed where, you know, just for GP, like, I don't even think it would have gotten to that point if Poppy was around. Because at that point, you know, you would have just checked it right then and there. Because there's two stories I tell. I tell that story where you're like, hey, I'm going to kill you. I remember it vividly. You said, I don't care if me and your mother are arguing, divorced, wherever I am in this world. If I ever hear that, I will fly and kill you myself. And it was one of those things where it's, as a boy growing up, it was I guess, one of the realest conversations, because it's a man in essence checking you. You know, you know, as a kid, your dad's like, stop it, or you're in trouble, whatever. But at that point in age, he wasn't saying, hey, you're going to be on punishment. It was, no, I'm going to check you how it's supposed to be checked. And this is what's going to happen, point blank, period. And then the next time I remember, it was, I guess I must have just you're a teenager. You have an attitude. It is what it is. And I was mad about something. And then I remember you and Fleecenet were in the living room watching TV or something. And I asked you for a CD play, my CD cases or something like that. And you're like, I didn't have it with you. And I was just giving attitude, yelling like, what do you mean you don't have my CD case? And you're like, I don't use the CD player, but you didn't do anything. Then later on that night, Mummy was bothering me. And I gave her an attitude. And then at that point, he came in, and I was in the guest room where Sharice is right now watching TV. And literally was like, he was just like, you know, I let you fly when you had it. When you had the attitude with me, I let you rock. But now you giving your mother attitude, you must think shit changed around in this house, pretty much. Because, and that, what's the Haitian saying? De go moun pagaret no mem kai, whatever.
Yes.
That's when I got hit with that two adults can't say enough. If you have a problem with, you can get the hell out. And then I was still giving attitude, and next thing I know, whoop. And he always threatened me like that. He was like, if you're going to come talk to me like a man, I'm going to treat you like how men are treated. And next thing you know, I just saw a fist come at me. And I'm like, oh! Then I remembered I was a child. I had to go to bed. But at that point in time, I realized, I'm like, okay, there's just certain things I cannot do. You know, and I have these conversations, especially with Steven. Me and Steven have these conversations a lot all the time, where it's like, we'll think about it. And even Steven now, he's like, you know, there's certain things like, yeah, I live in my parents' house, but there's certain things I look at my dad, I know I could probably beat my dad. But at this point, what's the point? You know, this man has raised me this much, and I wouldn't even try him in that way. It's just, I'm living in his house. If he has a problem with it, then I have to deal with it because I live in his house. If I have that much of an issue, I'm out. You know, and it was just, it's just one of those things, man. And I appreciate it. I don't know if I've told you that, but I appreciate those moments because it was a lesson, and it was a growing lesson for me.
And that was the point. It's like I want to kill you. That's not the point. But I want you to make sure that you know
You understood.
this is the last stop. Because there's certain things that you have to put in your mind that you cannot do. This is the way I was raised. There's no if and but. I see people say that they have to try certain things. There's certain things in life you should know that I don't need to try it. Some people already try it. I see the result. I don't like it. I don't need to try it. Thank you very much. You know, you just leave it like this. Because to me, there was no question about you don't hit a woman. Point blank. Because you want to fight, you fight a man. But if you're going to fight a sex that is not as strong as you are, excuse me, I don't want to say the word because now you have to be politically correct, but
I mean, there's political correctness and then there's physiological. Like,
yes,
it's just, you know.
No, I was going to use sissy, but
excuse you.
Now you have to be correct.
Okay. There are women who are more physically stronger than men.
Of course. But
Just
those men that beating a woman, they never marry a woman that can beat them up.
Yeah. Why would they do that? When they can't beat them up.
Yes. And the same thing, some men that is bullying people, they never go bully somebody that could beat them up. They always bully someone that
is inferior.
Yeah.
So, in life, you should protect the weak. You know what I'm saying?
So now we're on this father-son topic. It's kind of introspective in a way, but what do you remember most about your father, and what is the most important lesson you learned from him?
Oh, this guy like has a lot of lesson. Everything that he taught you in life is about something. You know what I mean? I cannot. You have to remember, in my house, I'm the one who lived with my father the least. I was 19 when he died, and when he died, he was already in Haiti. So, so even my brothers, my siblings don't realize that, you know, because I remember they were saying, oh, yeah, especially Tony. But they don't realize that the amount of time that they live with my father, I did not live with the man like that. So a lot of those souvenirs that I have was when I was in Haiti, which, what year? My father left Haiti, I was 11? Or 11 or 12? So really, I spent a lot of time with him. When I was a child, like I say, he spoiled me. When I go to church, I will sit next to him. He will have his bread for me and his jacket, you know. So I know all his friends because, you know, that was the guy that I'm always with, you know. But what is the best thing that he left? He always wants you to be your best and believe in God. Like I say, he was a man of God, always praying, you know, always looking for for God. And that's the heritage and the best thing that he loved family. As you could see in this family, he always looking for his family and bring people together, you know. I remember as a child, he could see someone walking down the street. He says, "Anita, that's your family," you know, and welcome those people. This is why at my house, there's always people at my house in Haiti because once you are family, you are welcome, you know, because we're living in the city and his family, where they're from, is a small little town called Akul, you know, and the sibling, the family cousin that don't have a place where to stay with us to go to school. So I grew up with a lot of people, and which I enjoy, and I consider those people just like if they were my siblings, you know. A lot of cousins that I know in the house, they were just like my siblings, you know.
Kind
So
of like how I learned Vavra and all of my
yeah,
siblings.
that house, I know we need to go back in Haiti to see the place where I grew up.
I'm down for that trip. I keep saying if I go back to Haiti, the only place
They
I
say
want to go is Cap.
the city is not the same anymore, but was one of the most beautiful
Even
places.
if they say it's not the same, I don't. I guess it's what people are saying from that's known it from the past, but even from people that I hear now, just I guess the younger generation, everybody seems to always love Okap. Okap and Jacques Mel are the two big ones.
Yeah, but they say that there's so many people. Like I told you, you see what I remember, the quietness there used to be at the afternoon. You know, like you know, you could hear a fly passing by. You know, but now they said every day, car passing by, people walking down the street, especially the street where I grew up. You know,
Mm.
and this was a big street, one of the main street, because once you enter Haiti, once you enter Cap Haitien, you have to go in front of my house. So that street is very populated now. So they say it's not the same. But I would love to go back and see it, though. I haven't been to Haiti since my father died, which was in 1980, March 1980.
So that's what
So we're talking about more than 40 years.
40. That's 40 years, exact.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wish you would have asked your father that you didn't get a chance to, and what was it?
No, I don't have any question for no that I did not ask. For now, I try to think about it. No, because this is a man that always talking about his life. You know, always talking about his life. You know, how he grew up, how he took care of his father is because he recognized him as a child. Because, like I said, my grandmother, his mother, was born into, I think she was the daughter of a judge in the town where they're from. So they had mula, dinero, chocho, l'argent.
Money.
So as the daughter, she was, if we want to make my father upset, we would love to tell him that your mother is short. Oh man, your mother was hot. He will get upset because the problem is the woman got kids with many different men, you know? And like I said, I'm Charles, and you see my cousin Wowo, Jerver, he's Charles, but we are not the same Charles. What a coincidence. By accident, we like Charles Aldrin, Charles Jerver, Charles, we think it's the same, but no, that's not the same Charles. Two different men, two different grandfathers. But before she married, I think she married Wowo's grandfather. And she has all the other kids. So we always tease my father about, your mother was hot, stuff like that. He would get upset. So he will talk because this is the women, because when he was born, I think they had sent him to his father and his father mistreated him, as a kid because they had sent him to the city to cop. So to live with his father, and his father was a carpenter and did not take care of him, men, doing other stuff, and especially men those days, they womanize her, stuff like that, and give him to eat alcohol and bread, stuff like that. So he was dying with malnutrition. And that's when his mother sent for him and went back to Lacule and take care of him. He said, and he became who he became.
So now,
said,
just
what?
a quick question, because I know we were doing the anthology series with Tonto Tony. His two other siblings, that's Wowo's, I guess that's from Wowo's side?
Whose sibling?
You remember, Grandpa Pichal had two siblings, right?
No, Grandpa has 12. Even 2.
All right, never mind. So the two that we learned of.
Yes. Did you get why they said that grandmommy was hot?
You're right. You're right. But I feel like Tonto Tony only told us 2.
Let me tell you something. You see, I don't know if you're friend with them, the Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
You remember I came to New York last year or the week before last to a funeral? I was in New York.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my cousin. It's my cousin. But he's not the same father with Wowo. And he was not the same father with my father. That's why he's Bourgeois. But we are cousins. You see what I'm saying? See, they were. I think his father was the first one who was kid with my grandmother.
It's like a situation, but opposite.
Yes, I think there's either, I don't know, 3. Okay? So now, my grandfather came and I think he only has 1 kid with my grandmother, which is my father. I think he has a sister. I don't know who was the father of the sister. Sister died. That's why I don't have any aunt. The only sister he had, after that, when he married Wowo's grandfather, he has a bunch of boys. I think which one? Tonton Raymond, Tonton Jean-Baptiste, Tonton Vezuma, a lot. So Tonton Jean-Baptiste is the youngest. You know, I don't think you don't know about him. I think he died. So, yes, yeah, there were a lot. If not 12, at least 10. You know, so
So do you
yes.
think that played a role in your father having so many kids too?
Of course, because back then, remember, men's, all they do is spread the genes, you know?
That was their job. They did.
That's their jobs.
Who
You know?
can I impregnate today?
Yes, because back then, you have your wife, but like my father, for example, and I love to listen to my mother defending him, you know? He said that it was the woman who come after him, not him. But I do not understand that conception, but hey, that's what she said. He had a car, a truck, a bus traveling, okay? So he will go a place and stay, and then he had kids there, you know, wherever he passed by, and he was already married. And this is why he always said, this is one thing that I know he always said when I was a kid, that he regret that he did that. Because all the kid that he has is after he got married. He did not have any kids before he got married. His first kid is Tonton Tony. It's after he got married that he has all the other kids. So when he become a Seventh-day Adventist, he always regret that as a Christian that he did that, you know. But it was too late.
So you're still the youngest out of everything.
Yes.
So Tony's the oldest.
I have a brother who's about the same age with me.
Mm.
He's older than me because he was born in January, and me, I was born in November. Or same year. We don't need to discuss the year, but same year.
Hi.
What traditions did Grandpa Pichal pass to you that you passed on to us?
What?
What traditions did Grandpa Pichal pass on to you that you passed on to us?
I think the love of family. I think it's because as I see, and I'm looking at all my siblings, all my niece and nephew, we all love one another. We, like I say, we have app to keep in touch. Once has a problem, it's everybody's problem. So I think that's great. If we keep it up, and we should pass it on to the next generation, because I work in a hospital and I see people dying alone. They have no family. You know, I cannot understand because how could you have no family?
The amount of phone calls and text messages I've been getting within these last few days.
You gotta get one of as fast. So, you know, I think this is a great. He didn't leave money, but this is great. You know, our problem, we're not alone. That is really great.
So yeah, Andy, you got to teach that to the next generation.
Yeah. Never say you're like I said.
I do think it was easier though too, because we all grew up together, like we were all close, and now everyone's so
it's a little more spread out,
far away. So I think it's just going to require a bit more effort on our
more intentional family reunions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Of course. When we all were in New York, it was easier. Yeah, because we were in one place, you know. But thank God for technology, like Zoom, you know, WhatsApp, you know, you could keep in touch. And those of you who go up together, like you, Mark, Katsi, you still keep in touch. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you are. Because your cousin become your best friend. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because right now, I don't know, you probably have a best friend, but I'm sure you have someone in your family that you could talk to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like some people don't have any family they could talk to. It's some stranger that become their friend, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they talk to. And even the friend that I have, become
My
my
family.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there is nothing my family knows that firstly I don't know or I don't, you know what I'm saying? Because we are like that, you know.
That's just like when I was watching the video, or like when I tuned in, I think I FaceTimed somebody, I think Katsi, when the family reunion, because I couldn't make it, but then Gayus is there.
Yeah.
Gayus is not in essence part of the family, but he's part of the family.
Yes, it is. Because you have to understand, the only thing I didn't do at Christian's house was sleeping over there. The only thing Christian didn't do is sleeping in my house. But we will spend the whole day at his house. He will spend the whole day at my house. It was the same thing with Lani also.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even we don't see Lani, but he's like a brother because we grew up together, you know, in Brooklyn. He was the only one his father has a house. So that was the quartier general where we all go.
Everybody
and
met up.
you know, have fun, stuff like that. And after that, if we go hang out in East 94 or we go on Crown Street and hang out, you know, and it was like that. And I was living not in a big apartment. It was a really a one-bedroom apartment. It was a huge apartment, and everybody will be in there with the bike, with all the bike in the hallway because at the time we were teenagers and we were riding bicycle, you know. And that's the way it was, you know. There was nothing, like there was no secret, nothing. We were cool like that. And this is people, like I said, we know since we were a kid, you know.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have a friend like that, you know. Even though I had friends in school, but since they were not the same faith with me, they were more like not coincidence,
Acquaintances.
acquaintances. You know what I'm saying? People you hang out in school, but after that, my real friend was the one that I hang out in church. You know, we go to church together, we plan things, what church we going Saturday, you know, we ride the train together, me and Tristan going to Manhattan, Queens, you know, before we had a car, you know. That was the life. I enjoyed my teenage years in Brooklyn. It was good.
This is more for the fans, you know, for the, you know, people that watch. It's more of an insider. But in what ways am I most likely? Am I most like you?
One thing I remember when I was in the house, I always wanted you to come and help me to learn things, you know, so you could be manual, you know, because I believe that a boy should be able to use his hands. But I realized that when I went to medical school and left you behind, that you become a man without me knowing, because I guess you used to watch, even though that I wanted you to stand there and help me out, you would never be able to, but at least you were watching with one corner because you do sprinkler, you do shock, you do brakes, you will be calling me and you'll be able to do them. I guess this is in the gene because the men and the family, even the women, are very manual. As you could see that, things that she did, you know, we are very manual. So I guess this is a chance. It's natural.
You just don't look like him, Andy. That's it.
Eh? What?
I'm getting there.
And you get in there.
Say that again.
I said the only thing is he doesn't look like you, but even now he's getting there.
Yeah, he's getting there. He has a small head, but you know, the head is getting there.
That's funny because even like I guess I still do the manual things, and
yeah,
like okay, for example, every Friday, Saturday, I'm outside washing cars. And then here comes Charlie. I want to wash cars too. And like, it's just something that I don't know. I kind of have the same feelings. Like sometimes I want to do something. I want Charlie like right there to kind of do it, help me with it. But then on other times, he does want to help. That I will give him. He always asks us to help. Oh, I want to help. I want to help fix stuff. I want to help do this. And then it's kind of like, all right, now I'm on a time basis. I can't really have you helping.
I
But
know. And this is something you should let them do because,
well,
when
with the cars, I give him a job. He's on tire duty.
on
So
what?
he's on tires duty, so he cleans the
Oh,
tires. You gotta work your way up. Because at one point I want to retire from washing cars. Because it was something actually I noticed with my friends that their father was the same way, very manual, would literally tell them, he told me it was one story, his dad was like, all right, listen, I had like an engine block or whatever. His dad said, I want you to take off all the bolts and I don't want you to lose any bolts. And that's how they learned to fix cars. And like now, it's like their dad. I remember watching them because we were all. This is our Beamer crew. We were all washing cars or whatever that third. So they would be outside, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go wash and wax my dad's car." And I was just outside with them chilling, and dad comes outside and he's like, "You see that? I trained the boys right. I don't have to do anything. I bought the car, and they do everything."
and you had asked me something I regret. Yes, now it come up. One thing I regret because by not being there, because I always wanted to see my boss driving, do things with my car, even it's, hey, you don't take my car, you take it, you took off, like competition used to do. I get upset with you, why did you do? I never get to live this, because of the situation,
Yeah.
So, yes,
No,
those things I did not really. I briefly see you driving, stuff like that, you know what I mean? But to be there, it's not the same. And like I said, I remember you told me that I left you with a bunch of women. That's what, So,
What?
You
yes.
did. That you did. Is it
Now,
not?
because
With a bunch of women?
he talks a lot. So I said, man, you talk a lot. He said, what do you expect? You left me with a bunch of women.
I didn't have no outlets. I had what I had. The only person
You
I
know?
had was Brandon at one point, but at that point it was too late.
This is the reason I said I was more involved, more around there. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, it's a big
I
part.
guess another thing, in what ways is Sharissa most likely? No, Sharissa
Okay,
looks like
now
you, so
that you
there's
go back,
that.
let me go back. And
Okay.
what way you more like me? You more like me in a way that you are a very intelligent guy, that you can do a lot of things, but you are lazy, just like me. Okay?
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes. But one thing that I wish you had, you could always, because my thing, I was very observant and hopefully you could decide in one figure, this is what I want to do, I'm going to do it. Because in life, it's never too late. Sharissa, like me, I think Sharissa is more like a mother. I don't think Sharissa is like me. They say resemblance, like they say that. I don't see the resemblance, but people say they see the.
You don't see the resemblance? What?
Oh,
God,
wow.
I guess because you guys are mine, I don't see it. The same thing with the other kid. People think that Ashanti look like Sharissa. I don't see
Papi,
it.
me, Ashanti, and Fredo. Ashanti's starting to look more like her mom, but when I feel like we were
when she was
all,
born, yeah.
Yeah, and especially Fredo. Fredo is your head on a smaller body.
Yeah.
There's no denying.
And Andy has a lot of my mannerism, you know.
Yes. Like when you talk to Andy and see his movements and how he moves, there's no way you can deny.
I'm looking at him now, talking, just like the hands moving.
Yeah, I get it. I get in trouble for that with the hand movements.
Yeah.
So yes, but beside that, yes, that's one thing.
Okay, another one is what surprises you? Oh, I wrote that wrong. Wow. What surprises you about us?
Surprise. Yeah, I don't have any surprise. Any surprise about you guys that I will say, oh man, that's my surprise. You know, as long as there's nothing negative, then there's no surprise. So to me, we are blessed. Talking about me and your mother, blessed because nothing negative coming up. So, of course, I think there will be people wants people to have all the escalate in the world, but life is not about that. It's about being a normal citizen, respectful. You know, it's something about NG that make me very proud because people always say how respectful you are. You know, I remember Asa will tell me, Aldrin, man, I could teach NG piano for free. No matter how old is he, you know I am Aldrin. I'm always hard-headed. You know, I could yell at Andy, and he will never say not a bad word to me. You know, and he said that this kid that is younger than him, you know, they will curse him out. So I guess to me that's a blessing to have kids that respectful.
Don't nobody want to get in trouble. Nobody wants to get in trouble out here.
Yeah, but this when I was a kid, I know I would get in trouble, but I would do certain things. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. Then you will say that, and back then in Haiti, they're gonna beat you up. You will say, it's okay. My body is just like a tree. It will go again. You know, you do it.
Handle it.
Yes, because same thing when it's a blessing. I see, for example, Whitney will take rice and put into the DVD player at guitars. I never suffered those things. My stereo was there. I threw them away because I threw them away, not because something was wrong, the kids messed them up. And he grew up not touching my stuff. I tell him, do not touch my stuff. That's Papi's stuff. And then you came along, he taught you not to touch it, but now you are the boss. Nobody can touch nothing. That's why they call you T-Boss, you know?
You don't tell me rules, because I'll make sure everyone follows them. Take off your shoes.
Take off your shoes.
And that was a blessing because this is nothing that we do. You know what I'm saying? Because for kids to respect certain rules, it's just, you know, because kids are curious. They are curious people. They want to see why Papi don't that. They usually go and touch anyway.
Is it? I don't know if it was you or Mommy who was telling me that they got embarrassed one time because I guess they had guests over that were going in the living room, and I yelled at them to take off their take off their shoes.
Yes, you will do that. You will do that.
That's funny. Okay, so we have reached the final portion, the introspection. This is where we start to kind of think about, I even know we kind of touched on this in the life subject, but I know you kind of answered this, but what would you do over, if anything?
What I will do over is if I had to reborn, knowing that I know now, I will focus more during my young age to become what I can be. Like, for example, if you want to be a doctor, focus more when you're young, you know, and do what you got to do and do it. Because this is one thing I always realized that I did not focus. I was a little bit, don't know if I want to do it, if I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I always appreciate people. Like I remember I was talking to what's his name? Charles is, I think he has Charles is his name too. Auntie's Mary husband, ex-husband.
Dennis?
Mercer?
Who?
Oh, Marie or Maurice?
Marie.
Sanders.
Yes.
Sanders. You know, ever since he was young, he wants to be a lawyer, and he's so focused. I wish I had that focus in life, that that's what you want to do. But I was like this, because I think my problem was also I wanted to have fun, So, and it takes toll.
Balance.
But I didn't balance it,
You have the discipline for that.
About discipline, yes. Discipline. And all the things that I said I missed because I went to school with Andy, I would not miss them because I would have been already a doctor doing this, doing that, So it's hard when you gotta go to school when you have kids, especially if the whole family doesn't go. If the whole family goes, it's different because we are living in the same house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like when Tati Mag and Thomas went to school, they all went. The kids were with them, Not only one go. If it's like that, it's different. But one has to stay and one it takes a toll.
It takes a toll. You got anything, Teresa?
I think whatever questions you have.
Is there something that you always wanted to tell us that you never have?
No. That I want to tell you guys, no. I have no secret. So, no. Not that I know of, no.
All right. And our final question is, of course, how would you like to be remembered?
Good question. Like to be remembered a loving father, a man of God, that love life. Like my brother used to say, a bon viveur, I enjoy company, I enjoy having people. As you grew up, you see that I used to have a lot of party, I enjoy people. I'm a very social person, Now everywhere I go, people always wants to be around me also. So I enjoy life, and enjoy my kids. Even if we don't talk as often as much as I wanted to, but yes, I do.
And what do you think your legacy will be?
I don't think about my legacy. Whatever I left us will be my legacy. This is something that you do as you go along, You don't plan, this is what I'm going to do, Unless you Bill Gates, you're going to leave multi-million dollars, yes. It is what it is.
This has been a very interesting and introspective conversation. I want to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you.
60 years is a
60 years young.
I don't know about young.
I am young.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Look at you guys. You take the gene.